Hey everybody, good morning, happy Tuesday, and welcome to our second day here with our new friend Tyler Pate. Welcome back, Tyler.
Hello, hello. It's a pleasure.
Yes, I'm super excited to jump into Photoshop with you in just a moment. But chat first, let's chat about what the schedule for the day looks like. So we have a whole day of streams going on. We've got vector art happening right now with Tyler and myself. I'm Kathleen, by the way, but you probably already knew that. We had our daily creative challenge with Val that happened just right before us, and then stick around for the rest of the day for the Illustrator daily creative challenge. We've got 2 XD streams, including a daily challenge. And then we're going to finish the day with a creative encore. So that's going to be a replay of a previous stream where we could just hang out and chat during it. So without further ado, Tyler, why don't you introduce yourself and then let us know what you're going to be finishing up today?
Absolutely. Well, hello, everyone. Good to see everyone again. My name is Tyler Pate. I'm a graphic designer and illustrator. I freelance under Tyler Pate Design Co., and I am the founder and creator of The Creative Pane, which is a collaborative network of inspiration and tutorials and all sorts of cool and fun products. So, you ready for day 2?
Yes, let's jump into it.
All right. So, a little bit of work was done last night.
Yeah.
I might have gotten a little out of hand, but I saved some of the progress so I could show where we started and then where we ended up. So I'm going to walk you through that real quick. So as we were talking about this yesterday, I went on my leisurely walk last, Saturday? And I have this slight obsession with these little squatty cars, hashtag squatty cars. And I found this little guy, it's like a Honda Civic. Took a picture of it. I thought it would be a great little illustration to walk through and kind of show you how I use reference images and also sketching to kind of come up with a unique illustration altogether. So here was the picture I used, a little quick sketch I kind of did to wrap my head around the piece itself. And where we ended up yesterday was right here. So we were kind of building the shape and the body and some of the wheel like features on the car itself. And you'll start seeing those carry over as the end of the stream. I kind of went ahead and worked on it a little further. So some of the progress that I've made, obviously I tweaked the bumper a little bit because something wasn't working quite right whenever we were working on it yesterday, but I tweaked it a little bit, did a little more detail to the wheels, added more color that carried throughout the whole car, put some windows in there. And all of this is vector, by the way. So I'm in Adobe Illustrator. If we do an outline mode, kind of show you what I've been doing. We got some dimension in there finally, which is really fun to see. So this is about another 2 hours of work just right here. And as we carry up, I started finalizing my color palette at this point. What I mean by that is I was getting my darks, my highlights, and some of the shading tones a little more accurate than they were before. Because once I get that nailed down, I'm then able to really play with the color. And this is kind of where I landed. So I'm curious to see what everyone thinks about the color palette because it's a little retro and I don't know, I like it. What do you think?
I dig it as well, especially seeing that first sketch that you did with the color that had that kind of like peachiness in it. I was like, ooh, I hope he does that in the final. And it looks like you did.
I did. I'm really stoked about it. And as promised, I think I mentioned, let's add some maybe distress to this guy just before we bring in the Photoshop. So we have like maybe one step before we go into Photoshop. But I was thinking I might want to put a couple dents in this thing, kind of rug it up a bit.
Yes.
And I know we were talking about creative service, almost like a food truck or a pizza truck car or something, you know? So what if we made this with a huge pencil on top of it, kind of like a Griswold type deal.
That sounds great. Yeah, we were talking about pizzas,
Mm-hmm.
pencils, gets our ultimate unlimited
Mm-hmm.
design changes. That was it.
Exactly. That's a selling point for this service. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and start drawing this pencil that I'm gonna put on top. And I was thinking about this kind of a fat pencil, tie it down, have the ropes going through the window type deal. Let's figure out how we're gonna do this. Let's go ahead and get our polygon tool. Let's see where
Ooh,
we're at. I think we'll do something like this. And let's make sure it's on the right layer because we've been using a little bit of layers.
very important.
Exactly. All right, I'm gonna skew this a little bit and try to get the angle right. And what I'm gonna do, it's kind of a cheat for me. I try to line this point up with what my current master angle is, which this is the same angle. If you look at this car, I'm using this angle throughout the whole front end of the car, all the way up. And on the side, I'm using the same angle all the way up as you see right here. So the moldings are the same as the rocker panel and then the door. And that's kind of what gives my perspective a consistent feel to it. So I gotta
Right.
copy that with the pencil. So I'm gonna get this point close to where that angle starts right here. And then I'm gonna skew it and bring it down a little bit. If you click E, that will give me this distortion transformation tool. I'm pushing it down, trying to get it on the same line. There we go, that's close enough. You see what I did
Nice.
there? So now I have the same, or close to the same angle as the front of the car, which is good.
Right. And I love just how you use the consistency to make this very unreal design look
Mm-hmm.
somehow very real.
Exactly. And as we talked about it yesterday, we kind of have our own version of this car, right? I mean, if you look at the two here, my reference image and then mine, I mean, maybe this looks like another type of car, but we know where it started from, and now we have something completely unique and original, which is pretty fun.
Yeah, you've completely Pixarified it.
A little bit, right? We got the squattiness.
Yeah, Paloma says, "Hey everyone, wow, the Honda has come a long way." I
It
agree.
has. It has. Okay. What do you think the diameter of this pencil should be? I'm thinking maybe that much. I'm not
Yeah,
quite
at
sure.
least pizza width.
Pizza width. Exactly. Let's see. Let's copy this angle. Bring it up. And this is gonna, same as I was saying. This is gonna then be the bottom of the pencil.
Perfect.
There we go. I have a question for the chat. How is everybody doing? Did we start
Yeah.
any new projects based off of what we did yesterday? Any squatty cars out there being built?
Who else joined the Squatty Squad? I know, I feel like the stream, we jumped in real quick. We didn't get a chance to
Mm,
really say hello to everyone. So if you are just watching for the first time ever, give us a shout out in the chat. We want to say hello to you. If you're a Adobe Live veteran, say what's up as well. We obviously want to see you. Very important. And let us know what you're working on and just how you're doing. Also, maybe where you're working from.
ooh, that is a good one.
East Coast, West Coast, different
Hmm.
countries. Give us a shout out.
I'm currently in Los Angeles, California. Any nearby creative folks?
Yeah, let us know. Where's the creativity concentrated these days? I'm in the good old Midwest at the moment, enjoying this 28-degree day.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah,
Is
it's
there snow outside?
no, just
Oh,
cold.
oh man.
Cold and only cold. Ernesto is in Monterrey, Mexico. Ernesto, welcome
Nice.
back. You were here all day yesterday as
Ernesto.
well.
Ernesto is the champion.
Peoria, Illinois. What's up there? Wisconsin love from Justin Roy. What's up, Justin? You were here yesterday as well. Good to see you. Ooh, and Ferry's from Indonesia. What's up, Ferry?
Wow.
Thanks
We're
for
all over the
hanging.
board.
Hans is in Culver City. We've got Seattle from Antonia. Good to see you. Audra says, I haven't started any new projects yet and missed yesterday's video, so this is an interesting project to jump in on. Watching from good old Texas.
Nice. Well, we got to see some Texan squatty cars. I'm sure you guys have some.
Squatty trucks.
Oh, you're right. You're right. We need some squatty trucks.
Ooh, Ben says that the bio for Tyler says that Tyler's from South Carolina and Ben is from Greenville, South Carolina.
Nice. Old Greenville. I'm originally from Florence, South Carolina.
What's up, Gus? Gus Bot's in the chat. Hugh is in San Francisco. Good old SF. Miss that city. Oh, and Carrie's coming all the way from Scotland. What's up, Carrie?
Nice. Let's put
Wow.
this pencil on a new layer. We have some good locations.
Seriously, I'm like kind of amazed. I don't know if we've ever had such an international crowd. James is all the way from Nigeria. What's up, James?
Wow. Well, I'm thrilled that everyone was able to join us today. And if you missed yesterday, I had started this little squatty car. I took this picture over the weekend, and I wanted to make it a squatty version. So we've been working through that in Vector.
Yeah, squattier, if that is possible. It's like, I feel like maybe the vintage VW Bugs might be the squattiest of all squatty cars.
That's pretty squatty. It would be a toss-up for me because I've been on the look for these squatty cars. A Fiat is a pretty good one.
That's literally just a cheese cube. It's a Fiat.
it is the ultimate squatty car.
Somebody yesterday said that they drove a Pinto as their first car.
Oh,
It's
nice.
a pretty squatty car as well.
Those are fun.
Ernesto's saying, are you still thinking of adding the bumper stickers? And don't forget to add the shadows of the mirror on the car. Ooh, good call.
Ooh, we do need that. Okay. How about in the chat, let's figure out some slogans or some stickers we could add on it. Some taglines. I was starting a little list over here. I was trying to figure out what could we add on here.
Honk if you're hungry. Thanks, Golden. Golden says, I hope everyone is well today. Very nice of you. And chat, I'll just remind you really quick that at the last 20-ish minutes of the stream, so at about 2 o'clock Eastern time, 12 o'clock Pacific-ish, or 11, we are going to be doing an artist spotlight. So we are going to be looking at one of our friends' awesome portfolios, going through some of their work. And if you would like to be spotlit in the future for us to check out your Behance portfolio, check out the Artist Spotlight tab. It's in the chat pod at the top next to the info tab. So check that out.
Nice.
Ooh, Clever says a good bumper sticker would be pencil pusher.
I like that.
Pixel pusher.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's start playing with some color here.
How did you land on this awesome salmon-y pinkish color?
I was looking around for some inspiration and I found a couple things that use this salmon color and I was like, all right, that's a good one. So I use Dribble and Behance quite a bit for color palettes. Just kind of mix and match different things that I see and I've collected. And then once I nail down at least 3 or 4 colors that I know work together. For instance, I used and found this blue and the salmon color. And I was like, all right, those look pretty cool. And then once I laid it down, then I started tweaking them a little bit to make it my own. and then eventually trying to nail down the color palette that would best fit, the right side and the front and then the top. That's probably the trickiest part, is figuring out where is my light source. And it's a little fadangled a little bit because it's not completely accurate, but it's enough to where I'm happy with it.
Yeah, it's like it still exists in a non-realistic universe, but you have to make it look kind of realistic.
Exactly.
For some reason, this salmon hue reminds me of Back to the Future. I feel like maybe it's in the logo, or I don't know. It features prominently in that movie, and I don't know where.
Well, maybe it's just that classic 80s look,
That's true. Or is his jacket that color?
Oh, yeah, you're right. It's in the second one, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Because it inflates or does something weird.
Of course it does.
That's when he had the famous Air Max Nike shoes that laced themselves.
Yes. Iconic.
I know.
Chat, let us know your favorite 80s pop culture, whether it's a movie or a band, a big hair band. Somebody was saying that they wanted to see big hair coming out of the window. Like the driver has some crazy pompadour.
That would be funny. I think that should be far enough. So I'm just creating this pencil. It's like one segment at a time. And I'm using the same angle that I used for the car. So hopefully it'll look as if it belongs in the same world.
It really does. It looks like you're like using a 3D tool to extrude this, but you're just going along angles.
The fun part is once you find the center, such as the center of this polygon that goes all the way through, you then can just simply connect.
Whoa.
Like points by number kind of deal.
Seriously.
And then you'll start seeing your shape form. And I'm fine with this pencil being a little more like a polygon 3D map. It's like a low poly look.
That's very cool. Ernesto says, for the DeLorean design car, we'll send you the logo yesterday. Love it.
Ernesto's on it. Let's see.
Oh, Clever says that Max Headroom is their favorite 80s pop culture. And I just listened to a podcast about Max Headroom. Have you heard about him before?
No, who is that?
So if I remember correctly, and maybe Clever can help me out, it was like a spoof on the news where it was this guy who like wore this crazy mask and had this crazy hair, and he was like this satirical newscaster.
Okay.
And he's kind of like just a pop culture icon now because he was so wild looking and so crazy. But I'd never heard of him before. It's interesting. Small world, Clever. It's such a great name, Max Headroom.
Belongs on the news.
Totally. Justin says, what are some tips that you can share to help us get better at nailing that perspective?
I honestly create a cube. If you can create a cube from scratch, you are in the most basic of steps before you start getting into bigger shapes and more complex, because a cube is using the same idea. It's the same angle on the front, then the top, and then the sides are going to be the same angle all the way through. So I would make cubes and then try to make more complex shapes. I think one of the shapes that I had done that really helped me, I created an Eggo waffle, believe it or not. So that's a really hard one to do at first because you're using a circle and then you're going to use a grid and then you're going to create the three-dimensional layers in that. So if you can create an Eggo waffle, you're on the right track.
Wow, what a challenge.
I know. I need to get endorsed by Eggo now.
Seriously.
Hashtag Eggo challenge.
You'll make them the most efficient waffle of all time.
Seriously. And they're really fun. I had a lot of fun with it. I think it was around the time Stranger Things came out, the first one. Mm-hmm. And we had an office party, and it was themed for Stranger Things. So I did all these illustrations for it. And the invite that we did was the Eggo box opened, Eggo's kind of coming out, and there was wrapped Christmas lights around it, and it was like, Merry Christmas type deal.
Oh,
But
over the top. I love it.
I know, it was a lot of fun.
Do you miss being in a creative office environment, or are you totally loving the freelance life?
It's give or take. You definitely don't know what's coming next. At least I don't, and that's, I don't know. The way I am, I sort of freak out whenever I don't know what's going to happen a week or 2 weeks or a month down the road sometimes. But I will say what's so enjoyable about the experience is when things do happen. It's just out of nowhere, it feels. It might not be that way, but it feels that way sometimes. And it's really satisfying when things work out. So it's a love-hate thing, for sure. If you're not creating enough or you're not getting yourself out there enough, you can only reflect on yourself with that. You can't put any other pressure on other people. It's like, all right, I need to create more. I need to get better, and I need to pursue that client more. It's a fulfilling thing when it works.
I can imagine. Look at that.
All right, we're getting close.
Wow, the pencil has magically appeared.
Let's see if we can use some of these colors. It's always good to reduce the colors as much as possible. I try to keep it simple. I might be able to use some of these colors, but I might not. I don't think I have any. I want a tan. I don't have a good tan.
And are you just using the eyedropper tool to kind of grab colors? Oh no, you're over there in the color slides.
I'm playing on the slider here. What's interesting though is I typically will flip sometimes, and this is probably a big no-no, but I love the CMYK slider over the RBG. But sometimes I never take these to print, so it's kind of interesting.
Oh yeah, that's true. That depends what your output is. I'm a weirdo who prefers the HSB sliders.
Ah,
It's like the most simple option of all time. Just lightness, darkness, and hue.
It's funny how there's so many ways of doing it, and we can still get what we need from it,
Oh my gosh, 100%. I would love a live stream series where it's just people going for the same outcome, but doing them completely different ways.
Oh, that would be fun.
We can call it, how will you skin this cat?
Yeah.
Or, I don't know. Maybe we'll keep that out of the title.
We're skinning cats now? What are we doing?
Adobe Live has gone off the rails.
I think I'm going to distort this pencil a little bit. This is too perfect of a piece of lid.
Right. Who has one of those?
I don't know.
Oh, yes. I have some other HSB fans in the chat from Carrie and Cody.
Nice.
What's up, Kendall? Good to see you. Kendall says, ooh, this palette is great. Salmon is back. Yes.
That is a great color. All right, let's mess with this a little bit. I do have smart guides on, by the way. That helps for moving points if you are ever doing something like this. And that's Command U, and that turns it on and off.
Nice. So those are those little magenta lines. I think they're magenta on your screen that appear.
I think so. Let's see. Yeah, that's those little lines helping me line stuff up.
So helpful. Yesterday, someone asked in the chat, like, do you like smart guides or do they annoy you? But it seems like you like them.
That's know the key command, because I'm turning them on and off, because there are some times where it is a pain. It is such a pain, but it's a lifesaver at the same time.
Right, when you need it. Make it work for you.
Exactly. All right. How's this pencil looking? Get a little feedback in the chat.
Ernesto says squatty pencil. Confirmed.
All right. Now we have to figure out this eraser. Let's see. Copy this. How should we do this? I think we could just to make it quicker on us, we'll just drag this in. But when I'm dragging it, I'm making sure I'm staying on the same line down at the bottom.
Do you ever hold any like shift or anything to help constrain that, or are you just
Mm-hmm.
using those smart guides?
Yeah, I use shift quite a bit, um, especially for rotating stuff. It helps it because you can retrofit the segments of how it rotates to whatever interval you want. Which is really
Oh, right.
nice.
Hmm.
I like that a lot. I might be able to get away with the blue on this, the metal piece of the pencil.
Right. That blue is such a good, like, metal shadowy color.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know what was fun? Talk about Back to the Future again. I was looking at this. I was like, looks like a DeLorean. I think we need some gilding door. Is it gilding doors? The ones that go up?
Yeah, the wings, maybe.
Yeah. It's like we need some of those on this. How funny would that be if you saw this old car with that?
Oh my gosh, just totally souped up.
It's all squatty and everything.
Erin is wondering if you have favorite books or people or places to go to for inspiration. You kind of mentioned Dribble and Behance. What
Yeah,
else do you do?
those are really good. Honestly, I use Instagram quite a bit. I've gotten to where I've really curated my feed and different things that I've saved, because you could save posts that you find, and I've curized it into like illustrations to 3D to color. I have folders like that in my account, and I reference them a lot. And a lot of times I've noticed I follow the same people primarily from Dribble to Instagram. So sometimes there's like overlap, but a lot of times those same people don't post as much on Dribble or vice versa. So it's really nice to, if you have a favorite artist, follow them on every sort of account, because I sometimes will post different things based on the platform. So it does help. Uh,
Totally.
yeah, some of the artists I really like. Let's see, James Draplin. He's a master of vector. James White's amazing. Love his illustrations, so retro and everything around it's just eye candy. Let's see, the Chutzpah girls was it Amy? I think
Yeah,
she
Amy
chimed.
and Jen.
Yeah, Amy chimed in yesterday, I believe. So love the work they do. The
Hmm.
illustrations too are really fun. They do. Uh, there's this other guy. He goes by Sir Mitchell on Instagram, but hands down some of the coolest illustrations. I would look him up if you get a chance. He's amazing illustrator. Every time I see his stuff, it puts a smile on my face. So that's when you know something's working.
Awesome. That was Sir Mitchell. If anyone wants to
Yeah.
go look him up. Nice. And you also have the Creative Pain accounts and also a
Mm-hmm.
YouTube. So do you make like video content, tutorials, and those kind of things?
Yeah, I try to. I've been slacking a little bit. I just recently moved out here to California, so the past, I would say, 6 months have been just so crazy, and then obviously with the craziness that's going on in the world happening too, I haven't been sharing and posting as much as I normally should on there. But yeah, I have tutorials and videos, and I want to really build that out to really help build these things that we see here, because I think it could help a lot of people.
100%, especially this year and years going forward, where
Mm-hmm.
everything is digital and it's important to have those resources available for people.
Exactly. I moved my pencil and it messed up the front.
Oh,
Uh,
no.
yeah, exactly. I think it's a great opportunity for probably for all of us if we just started creating content just to help someone else, even if we're new to a program. I get asked so many questions about starting out, and how do you understand the tools, or should I use an iPad or a Wacom? Like, these questions are really entry level questions for starting out, and they're great, but I forget to ask myself these, because I've sort of moved past those. So starting out a YouTube channel, even if you just started, is helpful, because there's other people just like you starting out and trying to understand this stuff. So it helps to surround yourself by just really jumping in it like that.
100%. And I'll use that as a plug to let people know that we have some Discord communities that you can join, and they're open 24/7. So you can always jump in there and go to the Ask a Question channel, ask a question, you'll get an
That's awesome.
answer. We have Adobe staff in there, also just other artists and designers who are learning like you. So I'm sure one of the mods will put in the chat if you want to join the Illustrator or Photoshop Discords. Good place to learn and also to make friends. Like I
Mm,
said, it's open 24/7. So maybe when Adobe Live isn't live, you can just go hang out in there. It's a good time.
that's awesome. Let's get this guy on there.
Okay, so I see that you added some of those salmon shades into the
Yeah,
eraser.
I was able to get the eraser in there. I'm gonna see what happens if we round the corners a little bit. That's something I sometimes struggle with is figuring out what I should round corners on and what I shouldn't. Because it could work either way. It's sort of a preference.
Right. And it develops this kind of shape language that you want to
Mm-hmm.
keep consistent through the whole
Yeah.
design. So it's like, is this curved enough to match these curves or is it
Mm-hmm.
not?
It definitely helps to at least think about that. I think for any design, we should definitely think about it. Whether or not we figure it out, I don't know.
But
I
think
can't help
about it
it.
at least.
Yeah, it's like I can't always figure it out, but I have to think about it. Because I'll sit here and finish this project, go cook dinner, and watch TV, and all of a sudden, oh, wait, I need to have this on there, and I'll have to jump back in here and fix it on an impulse.
Yes. But only you would know that you need to do that.
Oh, 100%. It's like, what are you doing? I don't know. I just have to.
The art, it calls to me.
Yeah, I know.
Dave is impressed by how you are talking and creating at the same time. It's not easy.
Yeah, how am I doing? I'm just
You're
sort of
doing great.
zoning out.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, especially for this kind of work where you actually need to like think about what you're doing. I'm very impressed.
I was like, there was a couple moments where I really I couldn't visualize it. If I can visualize it, I'm good. But there was a couple moments I don't know about this shape. This one looks funny. And it was the bumper. So like what time as we finished yesterday's stream, I jumped back in here on it and I tweaked the bumper a little bit and it started working. And once you nail that down and feel good about it, it'll go a lot smoother.
Yeah, and that's a great kind of testimony for people
Hmm.
who the first time they do something, a first draft, it's not going well or it's like hurting your brain and you're having to make all these
Hmm.
decisions and it's just not going well, that you just
Yeah.
try it again.
Yeah. On any project, it's typically time. And that's whether you have a deadline, whether that's how much time you have that day. It's anything like that can drastically change the end result. I like to say for any question that regards how long does it take for you to do this, it's like, well, I could spend 3 hours on it and get it okay, but I'm not going to be happy with it. Or
Right. It's like, where's the line between done
Mhm.
and finished or
Exactly.
perfect and finished?
Yeah, and sometimes you have to, especially freelancing or if you work for anyone, you've got to have a balance because you're on other people's time too. So that's usually what helps me figure that out. I'm just like, all right, I've got work to do. I need to go and do it. So I'll stop and that's like what I was saying. That's usually when I'll step away and go cook dinner or something like that. And so I'll go and live my life, and then I'll come back and realize like, oh, I need to make those edits. Let's see what we got.
Yeah, it's awesome to come back with a fresh pair. Oh,
I think we need to, like Ernesto said, we got to get on that mirror. How are we on time? Definitely want to get to Photoshop, so
Yeah, we've got about an hour until we do our artist spotlight.
Okay, so I'm gonna start getting this close to wrapping up because I want to show you that last step. I think it definitely helps.
Cool. So while you're kind of working on this chat, if you have any other questions for Tyler, please drop them in there. Also, if you're watching over on the Creative Cloud YouTube channel, come on over to Behance because that's where we're looking at the chat. I'd hate to miss any of your questions. So be.net/live will get you over here to Behance where you can hang out. That would be great. And also a reminder, chat to hang out for our daily creative challenges. We had the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge right before this. And if you don't know what that is, they are built for beginners. It's a 2-week daily live stream where every day we go over a different project that's going to help you get comfortable in the app. So you might go over layers one day and gradients another day. And the great thing about it is you are going to be posting your work every day as you work on it in the Discord, and you can get feedback from our mentors to help you make your work as great as it can be. So that happens every single day, Monday through Friday, this week and next. And Voodoo Val is hosting it, and she's awesome. And then we have one for Illustrator and XD as well.
That's great.
Tons of fun. Yeah.
Amazing community. Oh, you know what? That makes me think of the question you said earlier. Do you prefer working freelance or
right.
with someone else? And I do miss that. I do miss collaborating and being able to bounce ideas off of someone that maybe is sitting right next to you. That is the best, and your work will definitely show for it.
Totally. I really miss, like, I'm not a freelancer, but I just miss having my coworkers there to just show things. I can still show them things over Slack, but
it's not the same, you know?
Yeah.
It's not
they're
the
so
same.
valuable.
It really is. It's a hive mind, you know? That's how I like to think about it. We're in this together, and if we can make it all better, then it's the good move. It's really interesting too with, you know, we're all going through this strange time where we're working from home quite a bit, and we're not getting the interactions maybe creatively that we need to really push our work, and I do struggle with that because it's like, who do I bounce this idea off? Because there's times I even went through it last night where I'm thinking about the color of the hood on this car, and I'm like, should I do this blue or this white? And I'm just going back and forth, Command Z, and I'm sitting here. It's like, should I leave this for the feed or stream tomorrow? And I was like, well, that's pointless. Like, you guys don't want to be bothered by that. Like, I should already have that figured out. But it's just funny, and it goes to show that, you know, we all sort of need some sort of feedback like that.
Definitely. And also someone to kind of just like grab you by the collar and be like, step back.
Seriously. It's like, you're spending way too much time on this nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
it's so interesting when you think about it like that.
Yeah, I think that also goes back to the idea of really putting a lot of time into building the foundation of your work and not getting so lost in, it should be this blue or this blue, because those like little blue colored decisions take so much brain power, and it's like, just worry about getting this perspective right. And
overwhelmed. That's when I think back on growing as a designer and illustrator, I think what would be the big change in my thinking and the process was when it's almost like a confidence thing. It's like when you finally can feel comfortable doing and making the decisions that you're making is when things started changing. And it wasn't about, oh, I can do that or I can't do that. It was, oh, I know how much I need this much time, or, oh, I need, you know, this type of asset. It was like, it was more direct on how to get there rather than, it was like a lot of work. I don't know what to do with all that.
You're totally right. I remember that as well, like as a student with doing so much practicing and then all of a sudden it clicking and being like, oh, okay, like I know exactly how to do this. I just need the time and resources to do it.
Exactly. And it's such a weird thing. I didn't notice it until, you know, well afterwards. And I was like, oh, that is the only difference. It's just, I feel more comfortable doing this, you know?
That's awesome. We all strive to be more confident artists and
Yeah,
designers.
it's exactly something that I think we could all talk about more. And, you know, that's one reason I came up with the name The Creative Pain, because I feel like a lot of us is you know, brooders or like self-conscious about so much stuff, but we also don't talk about it. And I think there's plenty of opportunities for all of us to just understand, hey, it's okay. We'll get through this. It just takes a little bit of time. And some of our favorite artists and designers guarantee have gone through it.
Of course.
They have their own situations that they have to deal with. So it just takes time.
I love how you're using the same shadow shape and just fitting it to each of the little chords.
Yeah, I'm retrofitting this fast.
That
I'm
is
just
awesome.
it's a little rough around the edges, but I will say that it's fine for our time. Gets back to what we were talking about. You know, we have to figure out what is our time right now, and we gotta act on it.
So Nihal is wondering what your favorite animated movie might be. What kind of animated movie guy are you?
Let's see. Well, I will say this. I grew up on Dragon Ball Z. I do like Dragon Ball Z. If there's anything in that. I don't watch a bunch of anime or anything like that. I think we talked about it yesterday, Rick and Morty, South Park, all those, Justin Rowling, anything he does, that's Rick and Morty. He's been pretty consistent on some really good shows. Did you watch the new one that he did on Hulu? What's I can't think of the name of it. It's little aliens.
Yeah, is it that like the spiritual one, or is that the Adventure Time guy?
There's are you talking about Midnight Gospel?
That's what I was thinking of.
That's really good. I enjoyed that one a lot. But no, that's definitely, what is it? Pendleton?
Yeah, Pendleton Ward.
Yeah. He's pretty amazing. I mean, fascinating, creative.
Yeah, agreed. Fascinating is a good word for it.
Yeah. There are just some people that are on a different wavelength of creativity and brilliance, and it's like, man, those are the people I envy. I was like, that's amazing.
Right.
They're
It's
good.
like it just flows out of them.
Seems like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know what's funny is, like, we just talked about it. The reality, though, is, you know, they're human. Just like, you can really nail down some amazing things.
Yeah, and I think a big issue that a lot of people have is just literally sitting down and doing it or something.
Yep.
Because that's all it takes.
That's true. It really is just that. I tell so many of my friends and even people who reach out to me, it just takes time, and you just have to find something that you enjoy doing, because once you enjoy doing it and creating it, you're going to lose track of time, which gets back to the first response, which it takes time. So if you can distort that time, you're on the right track, because it's going to seem, I think, I don't know, I see it so often. You know, it's like really talented people, and I know they have ability to just crush it, and it just takes a little focus, and it you know, it gets back to confidence. You know, like, oh, I don't know, should I, or is this good? And it's like, yes, it's good. Like, I believe in it. You just got to get it in front of the right people.
Right. First, yeah, this is good. Do it. Don't worry.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly. You gotta keep pushing. You know, even, you know, people like myself and other designers who's been in it for a little while. You know, we still are trying to push it. We're still trying to develop what we're doing here, and it's never finished. That's the thing that, you know, I have ambitions and goals and Jack White posters, headline Jack White posters that I want to do, but I haven't gotten to it yet, and I know once, if it happens, there's going to be other posters I want to do, and I just want to, you know, get there.
Yeah, and you're like happy to be on that journey. It's not like, oh, I'm never going to get there, so I'm not even going to try. Like, no, I have to work
for sure. Well, I actually love making this stuff, you know? It's like what I'm doing right now. I mean, this is a dream gig. This is like perfect. What am I doing? I'm just drawing something I thought was fun and I'm talking about it. It's like, that's perfect.
Yep, agreed.
So, thank you, Adobe.
On behalf of Adobe, you're welcome. No, thanks for being here. This is great. Super educational and also a workflow that's pretty intimidating to people that don't know how to get started, but you're really breaking it down to the foundation.
Yeah, I hope it helps. And, it just takes time. I've said it in the past. It just really does. That's all it is. Just a little bit of time.
Oh, we have a request for a hamburger bumper sticker. That would be cute and fun.
Nice. Yeah, what are the feedback remarks? Anything
I mean, Mohammed says this is amazing. It's not really feedback, more of just a compliment.
Well, if anybody just chimed in, any cool bumper stickers we can add to this thing or any sort of slogans that could be cool in a sticker form?
Yeah, we talked yesterday about maybe putting some like parking violation tickets under the windshield or some dents in this bad boy.
Let me put a little ticket here.
It's that easy.
Only thing that's not easy about this, I have to figure out the right color. So it's got contrast, but it's also not blending in.
Right.
Which is a little tricky.
Yeah, I wonder if that yellow would work on top of that gray. It wouldn't have the best contrast, but it would have a pop of color.
It would also introduce more of the yellow, which I don't have. That's
true.
Maybe that dark one.
We've got Fueled by Coffee would be a good bumper sticker. Getting the lead out. Pencil pusher. Ooh, interesting. Ticket. I always have so much anxiety when I see any piece of paper under my windshield. Like it could be like an advertisement for something, and I'm like, no.
Same here. I used to live in Charleston for about 5 years, and I had to park in a parking garage for the agency I worked for. I think the first year I was there, I would walk out, and I think for a solid 6 months of that year, every so often I would have a little piece of paper on the front of my windshield. And guess what it was for? It was for, sorry, I hit your car.
Oh, that's nice.
Sorry. And it was just like, oh, thanks for telling me something I could see because my bumper's ripped off. It was like, that stuff was the worst.
Oh man, would they leave their contact info or were they just like, sorry, but I'm not going to own up to it?
There were 2 occasions where they left their info, but man, there was some that they didn't, and it was such a bummer. You're just left with it.
Yeah, but they have the time, like the conscience, quote unquote, to say sorry, but they're not going to do anything about it.
Yeah, I hope they feel better about it when they're driving away from their problem they just made for me.
Goodness, that reminds me of on New Year's Day, I walked outside and went to go check the mail and noticed that I no longer had a mailbox because someone had driven into it and ripped it off of the post.
Wow, are you kidding me?
Yeah, our mail was everywhere. I was like, to anyone who sent us a Christmas card, sorry, it's gone.
That's the worst. Let's see, bring this up. I might not have.
Oh, we've got about. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no. What's the time?
That's what I was just gonna say. We got about 40 minutes until we're gonna do our portfolio feedback.
Okay. We're going to treat this quick.
This is a great example of like knowing the time that you have left and deciding what is most important, having that kind of hierarchy of needs.
Definitely. This is a great exercise for that because I'm sitting here trying not to disappoint because I know what it's like to watch somebody illustrate, and it's like I want to see that nugget of information, and if you don't get there, it's like, You said everything I wanted but that.
Well, I really don't think you should worry about disappointing. I think everyone's very excited about what you've done so far, and we're gonna get to Photoshop. It'll be good.
We've got to get there.
We gotta, or else. We got Wayne Smith in the chat. What's up, Wayne? How you doing, friend? Make art, not war for the bumper sticker. Classic.
That's so good. Let's put a little Creative Paint guy in here.
Golden says, I am totally not disappointed. Thank you, Golden. You are golden. Wayne just joined and says, I got to go back and watch how he made that car. Yeah, Wayne, you got to watch yesterday's stream where we were kind of building it and figuring out angles as we went. It was really cool, very foundational.
It is a process. But I will say this, once I got, I'm going to reiterate what I said earlier. Once I got to a point where I felt comfortable and I knew it was getting to a good spot, it's just so much fun at that point because you're just getting lost in those details, which I love to get that way. And, whenever you can get there and you lose track of time, it's a fun exercise. Yeah,
I think that's my favorite part of the process as well. It's just like when you get to just execute and just like do the thing. You've done all the thinking. Now you just get to like you said, get lost in it. Thank you, Codi, for posting the link from yesterday's stream. Appreciate that. And I'm noticing that you're like laying out some type like a true graphic designer right now.
Oh yeah.
Where is that line for you? Like, do you see yourself as more of a graphic designer, more of an illustrator, more of a type guy, an art guy?
I see myself as a graphic designer because I do so much more than illustrate. Illustrating's, I would say, the passion to it. I definitely can lose track of time and enjoy every second of it. But I'm primarily a designer, so I build logo identities and icons and even website design. So I work for an agency in Charleston, how I mentioned earlier. I worked there for 5 years and I was building and designing websites. So I was designing mostly digital assets and banner ads to even a little bit of print material. And I like understanding the process of all of that. So it's enjoyable.
Yeah, like we said yesterday, it's a problem to be solved. And that process of problem solving is super fulfilling.
Yeah, it's exactly what I would say. It's just, I don't know, I'm a creative. I don't know. I'm just a creative.
Yes, I love those bucket terms because I feel like so rare is it that someone is just one thing. Like,
yeah,
it doesn't really happen.
I'm really bad at selling myself on that too. If anyone else struggles with that, because I sit here and I'll see some accounts where it's like, oh, I don't know, creative director, founder, whatever, artist. And I'm sitting here, it's like, well, I'm just a designer, but I mean, I could do that. I can make a poster for you. I can create a logo. And it's like, I don't know what that is under one bucket.
Right. Yeah. Creative director, art director, production artist, like everyone's kind of all of those things. It just depends on which one you want to exemplify and sell.
It really is. Because when I was at that agency, I was technically an art director, and I was just doing the same things I'm doing now. There's nothing different. So it's fun to notice that.
Oh, I love this. We're putting the little decals on the side.
Yeah, I think this guy should be turned a little bit. I'll do it like that. And then we're gonna do what we were doing earlier with the pencil. We're gonna try to retrofit that angle in there.
Oh, nice.
The only thing, and I'm probably gonna avoid it for the sake of time, is I want this sticker right here on the door. I thought that would be a good spot. But actually this door has a bend to it.
Right.
So we need to figure out that bend first. And I think it would take a little bit more time than I have.
It's such a small detail that it's like, if we had another hour, perhaps.
Exactly.
Zachary says titles, man. I know. Chat, if you could have like that one specific job title that you've always dreamed of, what would it be? It can be like as hyphenated as you want. It can be as simple as you want. What do you want your job title to be? Because you can just say that you are that in this chat. Like, we're not going to know.
Seriously.
Become what you want to be.
Let's see what this does.
Moment of truth. Oh, you're warping it. I see. Okay.
It's not going to be perfect, but it will be good enough for the time we have.
Awesome. Bryce says that self-employed is the job title that they want.
It's possible. That's what I'm doing.
Gary says, I'm so glad that I opened Adobe Live today. I love the illustration and the candid conversation as well. Thanks for being here, Gary.
Something also, if you're ever using the distortion map, or is it map or grid?
Grid?
I don't know the key command of this. I'm having to find it. There's a path. Where was I just now? There we go. It's mesh. Make sure you outline your text because I just messed that up.
Oh, yeah. Whoops. But at least it could still be editable.
Yeah.
Adam
true.
says, do you do this daily? I'm just discovering this. Adam, yeah, we are here every single day, Monday through Friday. And this is also a little moment to plug that when Adobe Live isn't live, you can watch other users on Behance live stream as well. So if you're like watching the video right now, if you scroll down a little bit, you can see other people who are streaming. You can see replays as well. And then we'll show the schedule screen probably at the end of this stream where we'll talk about what else we're going to be doing today. So Adam, don't worry, there's plenty more to come.
All right, we've got a bill. We got to get out of here.
Okay.
Okay.
Abort mission.
I don't like the sticker color background though.
Let it go, Tyler. Let it go.
I can't.
I'm here to be that friend that puts their hand on your shoulder. It's just like, let it go, man.
It's like we're at war. It's like, it's okay.
Walk away.
Just walk away. All right. So the only thing I've done with a little bit of pre-planning here is I created this file. It's a blank document in Photoshop. This is, I think, 15 inches by 15 inches. 300 DPI. I do really large DPI and resolution settings for my Photoshop files because, as you know, you can never go up after you've set that in, and you're gonna lose resolution. So when illustrating, I get as high as you can because for me, I don't know if I'm gonna print this down the road. I don't know if I'll make a sticker. I just don't know. So the higher that is, if my computer can handle it, I'm better off because I can make those decisions later.
Right, especially if you're adding texture to the mix. It's like you don't want those to be fuzzy.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So it definitely helps.
And did you just copy and paste those vectors into Photoshop?
Yep, that's all I do.
Magic.
Sure, you can, export it, import it type of deal. But with how I'm going to add these textures, it doesn't matter. Because I can, as long as you keep it a vector smart object, I can double click these layers and I can go right back into the vector file, right?
Yeah, that's the beauty of smart objects. I don't know if a lot of people know that smart objects like work between apps as well. It's not just only in Photoshop.
So I'll demonstrate that real quick. So this is the file or the object that I dropped in. If you double click that image or that layer, this is where it takes you. And this is the same vector. But it's not in the same file that I started. It's not this original file. It's in its own. Because look at the title. It says vector smart object. And
right.
then you can change it. Yeah.
Right. If you make those edits, you won't be messing up your original file. It'll have its own little standalone instance.
Exactly. let's see.
Renaming layers, I see. Very important.
Yeah, and sometimes I'll duplicate the object just in case, because if I start messing it up or distort it too much, I like to have a master to go back to.
Smart.
Let's see, BKG. All right, so I will attempt to texturize this the way I typically do.
All right, let's do it.
I will hold Command and then click on that layer, and I'll create another layer above and do white noise. And then I'm going to, I have a couple go-to brushes. And I don't know where I originally got this subtle noise brush, but I know I got it probably, man, 6-7 years ago.
Wow.
And more than that. But I don't know where it came from. I just know it's a great brush to have. And what it's gonna do is I'm just clicking all over this, adding this subtle noise.
Yeah, let's get a zoom in there. See that little texture.
And it shows up really nice on darker colors, by the way, because I have the color set to a white. I'm just clicking all through.
Do you ever like build up texture, especially on a certain area, or is it kind of uniform over the entire thing?
Yeah, I build it up. I just do a all over, like a once over with this. That's why I start naming my layers, because it's gonna get crazy if I keep going. Like I said, it all comes back to time. If I have a lot of time, that's probably a lot of layers.
More time equals more layers.
Mm-hmm.
We've got 20G Creative saying, new to this space. Hello, Tyler and Kathleen. What's up, Creative? Thanks for being here. You're in the right place at the right time, I'll tell you.
Yeah, I just have to say thank you to everyone who is viewing and watching, keeping up with my work. It's a joy to make.
Yeah, if people didn't know you before this, Tyler, I think you're going to have a lot of new fans after this.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And definitely reach out to me. I'd love to answer questions, or if you have any problems with design or how to get into this industry, it's a simple response.
Cool. Maybe one of the mods in chat can post your Instagram in there, or your Dribbble, some way to contact you.
Yeah, for sure. I have a lot of people reach out through Instagram. Surprisingly enough, not a lot of people on Behance, which is funny because I work through here with you guys. And I don't know, it's a different type of project, I guess, with how you post them.
Joshua says, Tyler, how did I not know that you were live today? You're a huge inspiration.
Thank you, my friend.
So nice. When the world returns to in-person, I'd love to buy you a coffee or a tea or a kombucha.
What? Coming in with the options.
Sounds good. I'll take the kombucha. Thank you.
Oh, that's interesting. So do you like kombucha?
I love kombucha. I also love coffee and tea, but if I had the choice between like kombucha or pop or soda, kombucha for sure.
Interesting. I've had it on 2 or 3 occasions and I couldn't do it. I thought it was disgusting.
No.
But I know there's so many flavors, so I shouldn't label all of it, but I don't know. The first time I had it, it was weird.
Yeah, it's like I feel like if you are just disgusted by it and
I don't know, but I will say I've gone off the coffee. I'm super addicted and I love coffee. Espresso is amazing, but I'm sort of doing away with it and seeing how that affects me.
Okay, how's it going so far?
It's pretty good. I've been drinking a lot of tea instead.
Yeah, what kind of tea?
There's this, what is it? It's like Brad's tea or something. What is it?
You know, Brad's tea.
Yeah, that's the name of it, I believe. But yeah, I don't know the flavors. It's just assortment pack, but it's really good.
Cool. And this texture is looking wild. So what is this? It's like an ink splatter.
Yeah, it's a watercolor brush. So I don't do anything fancy. All I'm using my mouse for my texture right now. So I'm on a Wacom Cintiq, and I also have a mouse. So whenever I'm clicking these textures, I'm just doing it with the mouse. Because I don't want any sort of motion or repetition that a brush stroke would do. I just want to click them in there and kind of make that judgment.
Right, more of a stamp placement.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Very cool. And you mentioned that you're not sure where you got some of these brushes, but chat, if you have the most updated version of Creative Cloud, Photoshop, you have access to a bunch of awesome texture brushes from Kyle Webster. So there are some grain brushes, there's definitely some watercolor brushes, and you could even do some texturing in Adobe Fresco. So that has a bunch of awesome watercolor brushes and special effects brushes as well.
That's true. You know, something I noticed that you guys did a while back with the Keith Haring brushes. Those are amazing.
Right?
And, yeah, are they still available?
Oh yeah, for sure.
I would encourage everyone to get those. Those are fun.
Yeah, let me see if I can find a link to it real quick.
I remember getting a promotion post about that, and I think Shepard Fairey he was promoting it, and I was like, that's just him alone. That favorite artist right there. I was like, all right, I gotta look into it.
I was really impressed when the whole Keith Haring kind of campaign came out, but that brush set is amazing.
So that's definitely fun to do. And what I'm doing, by the way, I'm building my layers with textures. The watercolor and the subtle noise brush is what I'm using, and I'm doing variants of a white and a dark color, and then changing the opacity and also the layer filter. Yeah, the layer filter, and typically I do the overlay.
Nice. I feel like overlay gives almost like a glow to your layer when you're adding that highlight. It's nice.
It does.
Jessica's wondering, Tyler, did you attend 2020 Adobe Max?
Oh man, one? I got to. I think Shepard Fairey he had a
right.
Yeah, I saw part of his, but I wasn't able to make the other ones.
How was it? It was a really cool first foray into doing a digital conference. It went really, really well.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it was free, so that's amazing.
Exactly. I mean, I know normally it's really expensive.
Right. It's definitely prohibitive for a bunch of people. So the fact that it was just open to the globe, I think that's a thing that we should do more often.
Yeah, I think it's definitely beneficial just to offer it like that and stream it.
Thank you, Codi, for the reminder. Yes, if you look at the bottom of the screen, everybody, we've got that artist spotlight countdown, counting down from 20 minutes when we're going to be looking at one of our friends' portfolios. We're going to be checking out their work and giving some feedback. So if you ever want your portfolio to be reviewed on stream, you can recommend yourself or even someone else if you think they have a great portfolio. Just go to that artist spotlight tab. It's above the chat. So if you're looking at chat, just look up next to info. There's artist spotlight, and you can enter your info there. We need more people to do spotlights on. So don't think that your portfolio isn't good enough or it's not ready. We want to see it and we want to help.
Yeah, we were just talking about having people review your work and just, what are you working on? I struggle with that, and it always helps to have other eyes on it. Sometimes it could be such an isolating process, I feel, and definitely very lonely at times. You're just working by yourself, listening to music or watching movies while you're doing this, but it helps to have some other eyes on it and comments.
100%. And it'll also help get you out of your funk if you're not sure what you're doing or you're stuck in those details, to have someone just be like, if you're so focused on the bumper of your car and someone comes in and is like, oh, that pencil is amazing. Then it's like, oh, okay, so the bumper's not even distracting them.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah, I couldn't tell you how much time I've probably wasted on such little details that no one will ever see. But it's, again, sometimes these illustrations that are, like this, they're for me. I want to feel good about it, and I try to push it as far as I can.
Yeah, there is a fine balance between I want to fix this because I want to, and not because I'm scared or insecure about it. I just want it to look how I want it to look.
Yeah, it's like if installing a fence in your yard, you want to do it right. Otherwise, it's going to fall down.
Great analogy.
I know, because I've put up how many fences in my life? 0.
Adam says that he is signing up for a artist spotlight right now. That is so great. I'm glad I found this. Yay, Adam. Thanks for taking advantage of it.
Yeah, that's a great opportunity.
And again, I'll reiterate, if you want to ask a question or have a question about a specific product, you can also join us on Discord. It's basically a giant chat room where people are hanging out 24/7, and we can help you out. And Tyler is adding some scratches, which is super cool.
I gotta distress it.
Wow, what is the workflow here? Are you just using a brush and hand painting them in?
Yep, this is the fun part that everyone can do because I'm just using a tapered brush.
Wow, and you're using kind of the edges of the watercolor to help guide you.
Mm-hmm. Gives it a more natural look. Otherwise, it looks too uniformed. At least how I would approach it. It would be way too uniform. So I found that the watercolor brush helps.
Yeah, I never even have thought about that because distortion is such an organic thing. Like trying to do it yourself, it's like, where do I even start?
Yeah, I can usually see it when I do it. It's hard. It's like mastering a clone stamp, which I love the clone stamp. I think it's great for photo manipulation and just some of the design work I've had to do in the past. And once you start getting to a level of being decent at it, you'll start picking up on, oh, I saw what somebody did there. That's a clone right there, because you start seeing the little repeated patterns.
Right. You get that kind of critical eye.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly it.
So we have a question in the chat about when you are feeling unmotivated. So you know you need to do the work to improve, but you're just not feeling like working right now. I know the easy answer is like, just do it. But do you have any tips?
Well, I'll say this. I sort of mentioned this story yesterday, but I did this past October one of those October challenges. I think the one I did was Dab's October challenge, something like that. But it was 31 days of illustration each day, and I was doing vector art. So I literally was waking up that day, and I've freelance, so I have clients and work and stuff that I'm having to do first. So it would generally get to be, 10, 11 p.m. at night, and I'm sitting here drawing a concept and then illustrating it. Typically 1 to 2 hours is what it would take every day for a month. And after that, I realized that I was completely burnt out and unmotivated. And it's something that I've been there before, and I know it's okay. And that's step one, is understanding it's okay. Otherwise, you start going in, the atmosphere of, should I be doing this? Am I good enough? Which are very common things to experience, and it's not a good end for that, because you're going to sit there and doubt yourself more than you ever should. So what I would say to that is I stepped away. So November and December, I really didn't do anything creatively for myself. I was working. I mean, work is, work. It's, it gets tedious, but you get through it. It's fine. Appreciate the fact that we're drawing and illustrating and working on a computer for a living, if you're lucky enough. So, I try not to complain too much, but it got to a point where I stayed away from doing some fun stuff that I would normally do for myself for about 2 months. I also moved in that time, so I was also busy thinking about moving in December just to get to where I am. And then I finally hit a spot where I started sketching. I was like, I need to just sketch. Like, I have a sketchbook. It's like, this is my sketchbook. It's just pen and paper. And you could see I was doing the doodles of the car, right? So that's what I keep up with. And I have a whole bunch of sketches where I'm just playing around. I have some concepts of, I don't know if you could see with the light, but I have other creative pain concepts. it's good to have a series that you can constantly expand on. The Creative Paint is that for me because I know the style, I have a consistent view on it, and I just need to sketch ideas. And once I get ideas in my sketchbook, I then get eager to get to them. And I start filling the sketches up, and I'm like, oh, this is a really good one. And I start reflecting. I'll look back on that sketchbook. If you have a sketchbook, look back at some older ones. Maybe you have one from a year or 2 years ago. Look back through it. I bet you have one thing in there that you forgot about, and it's going to spark an idea, and you're like, oh, I want to see that done. And then that's going to get you energized to get back in there. And that's exactly what happened with me. So I started out January with a sad note because MF Doom, the greatest MC, passed away. Well, we found out that he passed away on the 1st.
Right.
And I had this idea a long time ago to do the cereal box. And I was like, oh, it'd be really cool to do this illustration, spoofing a cereal, and what can I do it with? And then I heard about what happened to MF Doom. So I was like, this is a great chance. I can make a concept after this. And I created the cereal box. I don't know if you've seen that one, but I shared that one recently on Behance. So that one was just one of those projects. It got me energized again.
Wow. So what I'm hearing is that you didn't really put pressure on yourself to make content or do it for any other reason than the fact that you were excited and it was something that you liked.
Yep. I had to find that excitement again because I diminished it after October. I'm not gonna lie. Like I was out of it. I was like, I'm not motivated. I'm tired. I gotta go work on actual, business stuff.
Right.
And then, it takes a little bit of sketching and get the inspiration, brewing. And then before you know it, you're gonna be so eager to get back to that drawing to just make it. And that's what gets 90% of all my stuff done. It's just, oh, I've got to see that done. Same with this little car that we started yesterday. Last night, I was like, I got to get this car. It looks so good. I'm so excited about it, and I lose track of time.
Wow. I love that you're so jazzed about your own work. Like that is something that so many artists strive for.
Well, like I said, I just really enjoy creating something new. And I love knowing, even though the majority of you guys will never see the working file, you will never see outline mode on your screen like how I see it. I love seeing that. I love knowing like, oh, this piece connects to that piece. That wheel is a simple ellipse and then it's duplicated 7 times. It's like, that's fun. So I get weird about it because I just love knowing that process. And it's even more exciting when you meet other artists who have similar characteristics like that. And I don't know, you can build off that energy and it's really inspiring.
Yeah, that's like the definition of inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. We have a lot of people that are excited about your work and wanting to follow you more, and also asking again about your brushes. So I don't think you know the origin of the brushes you're using, but you are using them on like outline mode, or not outline, overlay.
Yes. So all of this texture I've been doing right now has just been the tapered brush. So you guys have this. It's the basic tapered brush that's in your palette. And I have it set to a 1 pixel, by the way. So it's really
Tiny.
small.
Yeah.
So that helps. And I'm just kind of painting on top of my illustration. And since I know, how are we on time? I know we're running a little short on it.
We've got about 10 minutes left before we look at a portfolio, and then we'll kind of go over what we've done for the last 2 days. But I mean, I think you've reached a really great point. Like, don't worry about not finishing it because you're definitely showing us how to texture. That's great.
All right, so I'm going to add a couple hits of the noise behind my object. Something too that I would do. So I had this shadow. I'm going to create this into a layer, and I'm going to add a blur on it. One of my favorites. I love a Gaussian blur.
Yes.
Such a nice, relaxing blur.
Seriously, your eyes see it and it's like, ah, that's nice.
Mm-hmm. Such a soft touch to it, you know?
Yeah, no hard edges.
And then let's see, let's get crazy here. Let's put a mask on it. And I'm gonna go in here and just sort of brush things to the way I want. I'm gonna use soft pressure, yeah, soft round pressure brush. My settings, zero spacing, or at least 1%. Tone it down. I'm just gonna see what happens if I start brushing it on. First off, I need to have the right color. There we go.
Oh, okay. Just these little touches are adding that realistic kind of depth to such an
Mm-hmm.
unrealistic image.
Yeah. I don't know. I've had some people ask about my work. It's like, what? It's not realistic. It's really vivid sometimes. But I don't know. It kind of lives in its own world to a degree. I like to think about it how I see cartoons like Pixar and stuff. You know, it's like, oh, you could kind of see that the lighting and everything's really, crisp and it's believable. But it's a cartoon.
Right. It's this whole idea of like, it's not the real world, but this world has rules. Like there's ways
Mm-hmm.
that light interact and work, and there's physics.
Yep.
But it's just not exactly the way that our world exists.
Exactly. I think that's a good way of putting it.
One thing I noticed about that cereal box illustration you did was how it was so monochromatic and you had all of those
Mm-hmm.
great values of
Yeah.
green. What was the idea behind that?
Well, I'm a huge fan of his work, and MF Doom does a lot of comic book type style illustrations for his albums and stuff like that. So the origin of Doom, if you know the Fantastic Four, is it Fantastic Four? I'm probably botching that, but a lot of the comics use that green, and it's like
Yeah,
very
that's true.
toxic and it's like this evil villain type green.
Hmm.
So I thought that was on brand to what I thought what I wanted to do, and I kind of approached it from that standpoint. And then monochromatic, I mean, it just keeps it really consistent. I think for most of these illustrations, like I was saying, I like to keep it simple or try to reduce the colors to 4 or 5 if you can. I think it's always going to look better that way. So that's kind of where that stemmed from.
Right. It's interesting to think that you can have an illustration that feels realistic without a realistic color palette. Like you
Mm-hmm.
don't need every color in the rainbow
Exactly.
to make it feel finished.
Yeah. I'm actually reversing a lot of this. I'm just gonna get it to where it looks faint on the edges. I don't want a hard edge, but I also don't want too much of a Gaussian blur to where it just looks like it's not real.
Right. And it's hard to be like, is this too blurred because nothing else is blurred? But you
Mm-hmm.
want it to feel realistic. So yeah, sometimes you gotta paint in and out of that layer mask.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm doing here. I'm just kind of going back and forth with it.
That's
This
the
is
beauty
the
of a layer mask.
Yeah, it's a Bob Ross approach. I'm just painting tiny little trees here and there. That's all I'm doing.
Just
I'm gonna
pushing
be
it back and forth.
yeah. I'm gonna be very monotone right now. I'm just gonna add a little brush stroke here, and gonna just lightly dust it there.
That's the vibe. Keep it going.
Next stream, I'm gonna have Afro going, and then we can talk. I should make my own Wacom pen to where it looks like a paintbrush. That is an idea.
Yes, take a new headshot where you're like holding an easel or a palette with that
Yeah,
paintbrush.
I'm just holding my Wacom Cintiq.
Yes, exactly. With all the cords hanging out of the back.
Seriously, I'm just fumbling. Oh
Somebody
man.
said earlier in the chat that they thought that this car was Bob Ross's car and that you should be able to see his hair like coming out of the window.
Right. You know what I could do just for fun? I could paint some hair. If I was to do
Yes.
hair in this style, what I would do though is I would I would keep it a little cartoony. I would almost do hair that's like this.
Oh yeah, wavy.
It's like that. But I'm not gonna keep it.
It was just for fun.
Yes. Let's adjust the colors a little bit. This is where you can really enhance what you've done.
Cool. So we're going to bring out the power of Photoshop.
Mm-hmm. Just to heighten some of this. And it's a little tricky with this color palette because reds, well, anything that's in that RGB spectrum, if you have a solid red or a green or a blue, once you start distorting it in the curves, you could really mess it up. Because
Yeah, it can go vibrant real quick.
yeah, it's gonna look like a malfunctioned computer screen. But we can do some vibrance. We can do a little saturation, maybe a little less. I like that salmon pink. All right, and then you know what I'm gonna do one last time. I'm gonna go back to my subtle noise brush. Where are you at? There we go. And I'm gonna do a once over of everything.
Cool.
Painting a little subtle noise right back over everything I just did. Nice little subtle trees.
The sound of the clicking mouse is like the sound of the bristles on the canvas.
You know, I like a nice cup of coffee and subtle clicking sounds. That wakes me up.
No coffee though. Tea.
Oh yeah, sorry. Tea. Falling back into it.
Yeah, I'd love to see after you're done doing this once over just a super zoom in of all of these great textures. We've got about 2 minutes before we're going to look at our portfolio. And then after that, we are going to kind of go over everything we've done in the last 2 days with Tyler. It's been kind of an adventure. We started in Illustrator from nothing, from a paper sketch and a photo to this.
Quite a difference. And again, you can go as far as you want with texture. I would probably spend another hour on just this texture.
Wow.
Because,
Focusing on what? Just kind of tightening things up?
yeah, because you could really get this. I don't know how to really describe it, but it's just an awesome, like surrealist looking color palette to it once you start painting layers on it like this. And that's generally what I do. And if you look at my Creative Paint series, if you look at all those illustrations, that's kind of how I do them. If you'll see that it's a little surreal, the colors are vibrant, and it almost, always rugged, distorted, distressed. All right, I think this is a good spot.
Cool.
All
Let's
right,
get a zoom in on that. Everyone can say, ooh, ah.
So it looks messy up close, but what's great is you'll never see it this close.
I don't think it looks messy at all.
So we put some noise on there, crack some of the windows. I would put way more of these little distress like that, like holes and rust.
Yeah, the edges of that watercolor brush, especially on like the chassis of the car, it really makes it look like it's actually bent and dented in.
Yeah. Yeah, it really makes a difference. And then when you zoom out, something like that, that's what you're dealing with.
Awesome. Do you usually keep the background just flat or do you ever add texture there too?
I have texture as in I have this subtle noise texture behind the car. That's about all I ever do. I like to have it do a gradient to just a solid color like you see up here.
Awesome.
Just for framing purposes, it helps.
Yeah, and it kind of helps your eye like rest a little bit and focus on
And just
the art at hand.
zero in. Exactly.
Cool. So this has been awesome. We reached the end, Tyler. I'm proud of you.
We did it.
Yes,
We all
did
did
it,
it.
chat. We couldn't have done it without chat.
I know.
And as a thank you, we want to spotlight one of you in chat. So it's time for the artist spotlight. I am going to pull up the portfolio and share my screen, and we're going to take a look at some projects from one of our very own friends viewers.
Awesome.
Cool. So we're going to be looking at Codi Bear's portfolio. Codi has been with Adobe Live since the very beginning, like back in 2015. So
Wow.
very old friend. You might know Codi from some live streams or from modding in the chat. So thank you, Codi, for putting your work in. We are going to be taking a peek at some of your projects. And I think Codi would probably bill herself as a children's book illustration, woodland illustration, that kind of goodness. Over here in the About Me, there's some info about what she likes to paint. So let me know, Tyler, if there's any of these projects that really kind of shout out to you and we can take a look at them.
For sure. I will say I cheated a little bit and I've already looked at a lot of these because I love the texture and the personalities that some of these little characters have. Let's click on the squirrel birthday. You see that one?
Okay, down here?
Yeah.
Yes. Squirrel birthday, exclamation point.
I love the layout and composition here.
Yeah, this is such a great vignette.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of, children's books, this is perfect.
Yeah, you can imagine the text or the copy surrounding it. So I've actually watched Codi like live stream a lot of times, and I know her process, at least what I think of it. And it's really cool to see all of these textures coming into play and like rendering the 3D form. It's really amazing how just layering some values on top of each other can make this tree look totally 3D.
So is it all done in Photoshop? I'll have to look at that.
Yeah, pretty sure.
Wow, that's great. I love the little painting of, what is that? Sir Squirrel with the monocle.
Grandpa Squirrel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a great kind of choice that Codi made here, like what level of detail each item should be, so the things that are the most focused on are the things with the most detail. Like this cake has great detail in it. There's sprinkles and everything, but then when you get back here to these photo frames, they're a little more simple. The landscape is just a couple lines.
Yeah, that's really good. And just the characteristics of, look at the legs of the furniture. I love the knobs at the end. They're just so fun.
Yeah, and the fact that she put a little rug on a branch, so cute.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think adding especially this rug over here was smart because these objects are both brown, so sitting on a brown branch would be hard to tell. So just adding a little bit of, like, you get to choose what's in your image. So this feels very like thought out and designed to me.
Yeah, it's really well done. I mean, the blue that's in the ribbon, the frame, the vest, the balloon, all consistent to keep your eye running around. Yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah, there's almost like a squirrel-like feeling to this design where your eye kind of like scampers throughout the entire design.
Squirrel's got taste. Looks good.
Great job, Codi. All right, let's look at another one. I'm going to scroll down here, and I'm also interested to see Codi's most recent autumnal harvest Drawtober. So Codi also felt the creative pain and did a 30-day challenge from Ragonia. I think I follow Ragonia on Instagram. It's funny.
That's so cool.
Here are all of the topics. She even made her own, like, this is what I'm going to do, but made it into its own illustration, which is awesome.
That's fun.
Overachiever.
I love the little mushrooms. Those
Yes.
are cool.
That kind of orangey color is great.
Nice.
Oh, so this is for other people to participate in.
Okay.
Very
So this would be
nice.
the card that people would share.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the actual art, the prompt list is the
Very nice. Yeah, I love the style. I can't get over those mushrooms.
Yeah, they're so shapely. All right, let's take a look at maybe two more. Now it's your turn. You go ahead and pick one.
Let's see. Let's do, what's the name of this one? Cozy Sketching. It's a little bear drawing on the floor. Scroll down a little bit.
Cute.
Right there. Look at his sweater. I can't get over his sweater.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Wow.
really, really good at these compositions. They're just, I don't know how to describe. I love the style. The feet. Like, look how pointed the feet are. That's so fun.
Everything is highly stylized, but it feels
Mm-hmm.
like it all belongs in the same world, kind of like we were
Mm-hmm.
talking about. This is so simple. Like this, the
Mm-hmm.
shape of the head is so round, but you look out over here on the right side of the face and it's so
Yeah.
warm compared to the cool shadow on the left. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's clear that Cody knows some more like technical
Yeah.
ways of rendering.
Mm-hmm. That's really hard to do. Also, like once you can start getting perspective and light source down, it's a game changer.
Yeah, I'm also noticing this kind of repetition of texture here on
Mm-hmm.
the rug. It also mimics here in
Matches.
the
Yeah.
sweater. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's so clear that this sweater is textured, but it's only rendered with lines.
Mm-hmm.
Really cool.
Yeah, and you know, it gets back to what we were discussing with simplistic color palettes. If you look, the stripes on the what is that? The kettle that's in the background
Hmm.
is the same color burgundy as the sweater.
Yeah.
It's like this repetition of colors that are circling throughout the whole piece. It's really nice.
Yeah. And then we have this nice little pop of cool right
Mm-hmm.
behind the head. There's a little bit of blue in the jeans as well, and in the art, in these little vignettes down here because they feel like they have really nice silhouettes to them.
Ooh. I love that.
Seriously, this looks like it could just be like an editorial illustration in a
Mm.
print magazine.
Yeah, it really does. Or just a print to sell. I think it's
Hmm.
just really fun.
Yeah, I can imagine this like in a nursery
Or a
on a
library or
wall.
something. Like
Yes,
a children's library.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Also another limited palette. Even the
Mm-hmm.
fire, like usually fire would be orange, but
Yeah,
we
very
just use this kind
muted.
of muddy mustard color because that's what's used everywhere else.
Yeah, that's fun.
Wow. Great job, Cody.
Nice
I can't
work.
wait to see what you make next. Okay, one more thing I want to actually look at just real quick. I want to look
Okay.
at these because we looked at the vessel in the bear sketching,
Mm-hmm.
the little jug on top of the
Yeah.
stove. And this is just a great exploration in like prop design or
Mm-hmm.
um, visual development, like for a film. Like these feel like they belong in the same world.
They do. Really fun. Even the smoke. That's an interesting approach on the smoke.
Yeah, they
Because
have
there's
this
like
kind of,
there's like an outline on it, but you can't see the outline only until it.
all the
Hmm.
people have like these curly muscles and curls in their
Mm-hmm.
hair, and it's
Yeah.
seen everywhere. Kind of feels like that to me.
Yeah, I like that.
Wow. So everybody, if you
Really
want to
good.
seriously, you should definitely go follow Cody's work on Behance. If you go to behance.net/Cody Bear. Cody also has an awesome Instagram. I'm gonna pop it open if it'll load, perhaps. We'll just go back here while it loads. I believe it's just Cody Bear on there as well. Yep. So give her a follow. There she is. Lots of cohesion in her
Oh,
portfolio, and it's just super inspiring.
very nice.
Yay. Thanks, Cody, for
Oh,
sharing. And chat if you want to. Oops, sorry. I shared. Doot, doot. There we go. If you want to go put your own work in the artist spotlight option, it's over in the chat pod, just at the tabs at the top. Go ahead and put your portfolio in there, and we'd love to see it.
okay. Nice.
Work while we get Tyler's screen ready for you all to see some inspiration. Love those. So cute. All right. We good to go?
Looking good. That was great.
Yay. Thanks, Cody. Appreciate Cody's putting her own Instagram in the chat. Yes. Thank you, Cody. You are a mod and an artist through and through. Okay. So we have about 15 minutes left. So maybe we can finish up any texturing that we have left, slash people in chat. You can ask some last minute questions because this is the last day of Tyler's stream, unfortunately. So get those questions in. And then maybe when we have like 10 or 5 minutes left, we can just go through the whole process. One
Awesome.
mulligan.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, any questions in the chat? I'll just keep doodling away if you want to queue up some questions.
Yeah, wait for him to come in. I really love how this texturing is also adding some like shadow help and highlight help.
Mm-hmm.
Just making it look like much more of a 3D object.
Yep. It's really funny how it all works together.
And Al-Noor is wondering, maybe they didn't watch the first stream, what the entire concept behind this was and the idea of like the squatty car.
Yeah, so I have a fascination with these funny squatty looking cars. So I was mentioning earlier how, sometimes on my walks around the neighborhood and what have you, I'll find and stumble upon these cars that I was just like, oh, that looks like a funny car. Like, for example, a Pixar car. If you think about those cars and how they're shaped, they're always distorted and just, they're very cute and funny looking. So I have a habit of always taking pictures of these cars, and I've kind of collected them over a time far. And they're all around the same nature of a little squatty, a little funny looking, distorted. And I got a point where I wanted to illustrate these in a perspective. So they're all in similar perspectives. And
Oh, Ferry, that's a good question. Wondering, do you ever feel like your own artwork looks bad, but then other people think it looks great? And then does that help like kind of change your perspective? It seems like you're pretty jazzed about your art though.
yeah, it really depends. I like to think of, what is it? Whenever I'm doing logo designs or stuff like that, sometimes it changes. Or it's like, I don't know. Does this look good? Does this icon look good? And I could really get in my head, and they definitely react different. And by they, it just other people seeing it compared to, my illustrated work. So I get.
You go to when you're not designing or illustrating? Like, do you make music? Do you paint? Anything like that?
I do paint. I've done a couple series with acrylic paint before, and I don't get to do it as much as I normally would enjoy, because I think I just get very obsessed with a project, and then I just take it to an extreme to where I just burn out on it. Because I think one of the last big projects I did this acrylic painting series where I had these, I think they were 8x10 childhood and other people's childhood, and I illustrated them all in the same style. So they were all, weird looking eyes, weird looking mouth and teeth, and it was called Distorted Youth is what I called it. And it was just interesting. Yeah, I did a whole bunch of painting over the course of a year, and after that I hadn't really touched it much. Occasionally I'll do watercolors here and there. I don't do any sort of music related things, but heavily influenced by music. I'm almost always listening to music.
Yeah, hence the Misfits t-shirt.
Oh yeah, seriously. So it's heavily influenced by what I'm listening to, or if I'm not listening to music, it's probably a podcast, or a lot of times I'm watching to help me focus, if that makes sense. Otherwise, I'm just
totally.
I'm thinking way too much about things, and it's like, all right, I gotta just hone in.
Yeah, I feel like even just having like a human voice talking is sometimes more helpful than intuition, a little bit of thinking mixed together.
I could see that. That's exactly how it is.
Yeah, Ernesto is saying the pencil needs a number 2.
Ooh, those last details.
Yeah, right. There's a million things we could do.
I know. Let's see, that's the artwork. We can go back in here.
Or instead of a number 2, what else could it be? Because I feel like every pencil says number 2. Number 1, why not? Why not number 1?
That's very true. Why not? Let's see if we can add a number 2 in here. It's like this. I don't have a pencil on me right now.
That's so sad. I don't either.
I have a mechanical pencil, but I don't have like the classic one. Does that say it? Yeah, it's not. This isn't what I was thinking. I have a mechanical pencil that doesn't work. All right, we're just gonna make our own pencil. How about that?
Yeah, it's your world.
I know. If I was to have my own pencil, what would be on it and how would it look? let's see. I think that color needs a condensed font.
Mm-hmm. And while you're working on that, chat, I'm going to turn around the question back to you guys, to you. Like maybe you're an athlete, but that's a type of creativity for you. I'm curious. I know we have such a varied and widespread viewer base. So chat, let us know.
Yeah, that's true. There's so many ways around creativity.
Definitely. Like, I guess I'll speak for myself. I find like going to thrift stores and like vintage fashion is very inspiring and creative to me. And I definitely find that creeping into my own artwork.
Yeah, I really enjoy walking and running and just being outside, I guess. I guess I'm inspired by the outdoors a good bit because there's just something about seeing the world and traveling. Well, that's something I guess I'm gotten used to not traveling as much because I would usually go on as many trips as I can. I think in 2019 I went to Japan, and that was one of those trips where to see another culture and to really take it in. And I don't speak any Japanese or anything, so I'm just the true foreigner, and you see it in a different light than normally.
Wow, what took you to Japan?
I just wanted to go. It was one of those. It was on the list. Scott's Cheap Flights is a great place to look if you haven't heard of it. You can get really cheap flights that way. But yeah, I have a cousin. Him and I try to go on trips every year because we grew up really close, and usually it would be our families coming together and going on, a summer trip. And since we all kind of have grown a little older and we have jobs and stuff like that now, it's like, well, dude, we gotta make these trips happen on our own if we're gonna make them, last. So we started going on our own trips, and it was once a year we'll make a big adventure somewhere.
Wow, so maybe this year you have to go on 2 trips.
Man, if everything can chill out, for sure. Yeah, that would be nice.
Got to make up for lost time. Cody says that gardening is really inspiring, and Cody, I totally believe that by how like naturalistic your work is. Olgierd says I do Lego stop motion animation.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, how creative is that?
I love when I can get really inspired from videos. What was that?
I was just saying that's looking great, the number 1.
Oh, thanks. I'm trying to figure out the best color here. I think I had the best. Let's do that. Switch it up with that.
Boom. Done.
There you go. There's a number 1 for you. And then look, if you're following along, that was in a Vector Smart Object layer. So hopefully if I go back here, it updates. There we go. That's a really good addition. I like that.
Yeah, it adds a little bit of contrast to that top part because that pencil is pretty light in value.
It really is. That makes me think of, we could definitely add a lot of detail in here. Since we have the time.
Since we have 4 minutes.
Let's indulge on how much detail we can put in this thing.
Awesome. And maybe once we put those little rivets or divots, whatever you would call them, we can go over the process really quick, and then we'll say goodbye in about 3.5 minutes.
Okay, let's start over. And
let's start over.
Yeah, let's just start over and empty this whole thing. Okay, so
go.
Let's walk through it. I'm gonna take us back to the very beginning, which was in Illustrator. So if we go back here, let's close this. This is where we started. So for anyone just tuning in, this was that illustration that's in complete vector, and then this is the image that I referenced. So I took this image on a walk, like I was saying, I love it. And I've accumulated quite a few of these fun little cars. They're all squatty. I think we came up with that during the last chat, hashtag squatty car. And then from that, I did a quick sketch because I think if we remember correctly, I was going to approach this illustration different from my previous ones. I was going to do something along this line, and we started that. So we were going to have all 4 wheels on the same, plane. And I think we decided we were going to switch it up and keep it in perspective. So after that, we started building this little guy. He's in vector. I don't know why it's a he. It could be a she. I don't know. It's in a perspective of these lines. Outline mode. And then I kind of pushed it a little further after our stream ended yesterday and put about another 2 hours or so into the illustration to get it to where it is here. And I was still using, the gray palette. I wasn't exploring color too much at this point. I was just wanting to get the lighting source as accurate as possible.
Right.
And then we kind of landed here. This was the final vector piece. And then after that, we took it into Photoshop, and then we did this guy. Added some characteristics to it.
Yeah, that step from Illustrator to Photoshop, like you were only in Photoshop for 20 minutes or so, but it really just finalizes the whole thing.
I know. And just imagine if you spent an hour in that. So that's even more layers, more texture. It's like adding HD to standard,
So true. That's a great way of looking at it.
Yeah.
So chat, if you ever want to replay these streams and re-walk through that workflow with Tyler, you totally can. These streams are going to be available forever for you to rewatch. Tyler, where do you want people to find you on the internet so that they can keep following your work?
Yeah. I post a lot of my process and behind the scenes on my Instagram. So if you look up Typo11, that's Typoe 11, you'll see my design account and all the cool stuff. Like I'll share this final illustration. I'm probably gonna do a little bit more to it, and then I'll share it there so you can see the final piece. You could also find some of the Creative Pain, which is another brand that I'm with, their Instagram, where it's all Creative Pain. It's all about process. It's all about behind the scenes. It's all about just finding inspiration for that creative force to just push you to the next level.
Awesome. You've got a lot of love in the chat happening, a lot of new followers happening.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone for joining us. Make sure you stick around next for Andrew's going to be here for the Daily Creative Challenge for Illustrator. So go learn a little bit of Illustrator with Andrew. We have more streams coming up. Go follow Tyler, and then we're going to be off. So stick around for the next 5 minutes and we will catch you in a few. Thanks everybody. Thanks Tyler.
Thank you. Bye.